Second's one click too long because I shifted too early and it bogged third. Okay, did the same thing. It bogged in third. We still had room in third. So we back third up and make the second even shorter. And then I'll explain to you what I did. Okay, look. So if you shift in a second when your wheelie is still coming up, that's what it's going to do. You want to shift in a second when your first can't go up anymore, when it's like slightly on its way back down. And sometimes you might have to time the shift. So like right when it starts to come back down, you shift in a second, it pulls it back up. Did you see it right there? I always say I wasn't going straight, but you saw how it came down slightly and then came back up. This is not going to be a 17. Still bogging. If I can hit 117 with this, I'll show you what I did. I shifted too early, so it kept coming up. I'm just trying to slow the wheel spin down a little bit. If this ain't a 17, I give up, guys. Barely. All right. I'll try it again, but see, it wasn't faster than our other two. But you see how we're floating second now? That's the key to hit 17.8s in this. It's just to hit a 17.8, literally every single thing has to go perfect. In the rear wheel drive, at least. The all wheel drive with the shifter, we'll just do it like non-stop. Let's go one more time, because that was actually, I've been working at this for like over an hour, and that was nice. Third feels a little foggy. Anyway. Alright, so there's a couple things we did here, okay? Now, I reset default and I started over, okay? Now I'm using an 870 build, which is just stock oil. Alright, it's just because this car launches a little easier with the stock oil, okay? Now, a couple things I did here. Gears are probably the same. I'm adjusted my gears to basically to where when I'm shifting into second gear, so your wheelie's coming up, right? And then when you shift into second gear, what I meant by the car, you want the car wheeling at the last second, right? Well, you want it, the wheelie slightly coming back down, just like a hair. And if you go back and watch those two runs, you'll see that the car slightly falls, like, you know, an inch, and the amount of time that it falls and I'm hitting back into second gear, it lifts it back up again. And sometimes you can even hear the wheels chirping in the second gear. Alright, so one thing I did was adjust my tire pressure. Now, I'll show you what the tire pressure, changing the tire pressure will do to the launch. This is controlling how hard it's burning out, when it's gripping up, and how hard it's pulling the wheels up. You know, it's doing the same thing that you can do with your front spring, with your front rebound, with every, you know, everything has a little play in everything. It's just the hard part is knowing when to use each thing to make it do what you want it to do, and that's trial and error. I mean, usually when I adjust, my tire pressure is between 30 and 32 on like every car, and when I have to adjust my rear tire pressure above that number, that's when I have literally tried like every single thing else, because that's like my last resort thing. Now I have 5.0 front camber, or yeah, 5.0 front camber. Now if we take that away, watch our acceleration 0 to 60. No change, okay? So no change. If you remember what I was telling you before, the alignment is one of the things where, even though we're not going off the benchmark, right? If the alignment changes the benchmark in a positive or negative way, it's usually telling the truth. It doesn't mean the numbers are right. It just means that it's telling the truth. So in this case, since I had no change in messing with the alignment, I'm using the camber to help bring the wheels, the front end back down. Like, I'm using it to manipulate time, basically. So like, the idea, I don't know if it's working. It seems like it's working, but the idea is when the car is lifted up and you have positive camber. So you have when the car's on the ground, you have positive camber. The top of your tires are facing out, bottom of your tires are facing in, right? In towards the car, right? So my idea is when the car is coming up, you have the bottom of the tires more towards the inside. To me, it seems like it's going to want to pull. It's going to pull the front end down harder, right? It may not be that hard, but if they were perfectly straight, then cambered in, it seems like it's going to want to pull it down. So I'm using the camber to help balance the wheelie, basically. Another thing I did was I went full stiff on the roll bars. Now normally, if this car pulls hard left, so you want really loose roll bars in the rear so you can control it better off the line. But since I can tap the steering and get it to launch straight, I went full stiff because it just launches a lot smoother and it's a lot more stable. and you know, I'm steering before the launch, so we don't have to really worry about that. Second thing I did was I stiffened up my rear spring. And I stiffened up my front spring about 3 pounds, and I stiffened. Well, actually, I don't even remember what it used to be, but I stiffened my front spring up some. I stiffened my rear spring up some. I added more ride height in the front. And your rear rebound, your front bump. These are 2 things that help you balance the wheelie. Okay. In a bunch of other videos, I've explained how to use your rear rebound and your front bump. If you have them all the way stiff, then it's going to, you're going to lift up really fast. It's basically like it's controlling. These 2 together are controlling how fast the wheelie is going up, as well as how long the wheelie stays up. Okay? So I basically comboed everything together. So now let me show you what tire pressure does real quick, okay? So if let's just put this to max, okay? And I want you to watch what the car does. See how he just pegged instantly? Let's drop it all the way down. Then we'll go to 30, and then I'll show you why we're at 35. See how the launch changed? Well, now watch when the wheelie comes up. You saw how it changed how we were burning out. Like, see how we were literally on the red line. Watch where our RPMs are one more time. We're literally on the red line. See how that actually launched pretty good. You see how it was above 7 grand? Hold on, you know what? I just want to try something real quick. Can we actually launch this? It's not bad. It's launching really high RPM. It kind of likes it. Let's go again. Now I gotta launch this. Damn it, I don't want to do this. Hold on. Anyway, you guys can test that out if you want. And let's go back to 30. I'm just showing you what this does. Now, it changes how the car is burning out, and it changes the RPM that it grips up. Even though we haven't changed our first gear since we've been changing our tire pressure, but you see how it's acting like it's changing first gear. You know, like when we were at 55, it was acting like we had a super short first gear because it's all over the rev limiter, and now it's acting different. Now watch this. Now that we have some grip, watch the RPMs. You see how before it got to 7 grand, it went down, then came back up. Completely changes how the car takes off. That's why you just usually. That's why there's something that you adjust last. You use this as a last adjustment because it can change everything. You know, if you're tuning off of one number and then you change your tire pressure, it just changes the entire first gear. And that's all. That's literally the entirety of, or not the entirety. I don't know what the fuck that even word means. That's what all of this tuning is about. All of drag tuning, 90 something percent of being fast in drag is getting off the line, right? Getting off the line, first gear. The rest of it, the rest of this stuff's easy. Shifted early. All right, anyway. 1 second. All right, let me show you what we got in here. 25 minutes. All right, I'm trying to wrap this up by 30 minutes. Let me show you this real quick. So let's get rid of this, all of this right here, and see what it does. I really want to experiment with that that 15 tire pressure now in this car. That's probably what I'm gonna do when we're done with this by myself. Just go mess around. All right, now watch this right here. Okay, you see how that changed the lift? Changed the lift completely. That's why that last video, the numbers that I gave you guys on that last video that we did on the GTR, is a good place to start. Basically medium. Medium's a good place to start. Medium's a good place to start. Now, okay, now let's see what happens. Let's go full stiff and watch what happens. Then we'll go medium, and I'll show you what happens when you adjust each one. See how it just stays up for eternity? And let's see if we can counter that. I'm gonna leave that 13. Let's bring this halfway down now. Let's see what happens now. Remember, we're watching the wheelie here, because that's what this is. All this is affecting the wheelie. You see how that? See how the time, the amount of time that it stayed up for changed? All right. So your front bump is affecting the amount of time, and how gently it comes down. Your rear rebound is affecting how fast it was coming up and how far it was coming up. You know, you can get the same effect with spring and rebound. That's why a lot of cars you don't even have to touch. A lot of cars you could literally put this at 6 and 6 or 5 and 5 or 7 and 7 and leave it alone, right? Never touch it again. Or a lot of cars you can even leave these default, and you can get all of your tuning with your front rebound and your front springs. There's not a lot of cars that this stuff actually matters, but this car is just different. This car, everything that you do to it comes into a play, because it's just a nasty freaking car, and you have to adjust everything on it to get it to work. Let's put this back at 7.5, and now we're gonna bring this down and see how this changes it. The gears, I literally just did I did the same thing I did on the last video with the gears. Just change but you adjust your rear rebound front bump. You either adjust them like a seesaw, or you keep them the same. That's all you do though. Once you got a car dialed in that you think is dialed in, come in here and just start fucking everything up, dude. See what it does. You know what I mean? That's all I did. Ooh. Ooh. That was interesting. It was scraping bad, but I kind of, let's see. Oh man, wild launch. Okay. And when you're doing this, I'm listening to everything. I'm listening to my tire spin, because if you noticed, you could hear the sound change through that entire first gear, different points. And the vibrations of your controller, that stuff will tell you a lot. It's not all visual. But anyway. Alright, well, I hope this helped out a little bit further with the second gear stuff, or floating wheelies. Let me see if there's anything else I can show you real quick. I don't even remember what we had our tune at. Probably something like this, maybe. I don't know. But let's go for one more hit. Oh, so while I'm at a 301, I just moved it to 3.00. It's just a number I used to use because back in the day, how I basically tune any of my cars is, which I show you this in the all-wheel drive, the easy all-wheel drive tuning method, is you move your final drive until your first gear is basically like spot on. So that's why I'm saying the number doesn't matter. Back when I used to use 3.00, it was just because most of the cars were when you put it to 3.00, their first gear was like spot on. It was because of the amount of grip that the track had at that time. And the reason why I'm 301 is, if you look at our fourth gear here, so do you see how the space that the gear is moving, right? See how far that's moving? So let's say you want to get in between there. You don't want to put it back that far, but that's not enough, right? So what you would do is you would come like here, and then you would come up here and adjust this instead. See it smaller clicks? And then you could come back here and readjust your other ones back. So you can use your final drive to get in between clicks on all your gears, but it works really good on your later gears, because the later it is on the graph, like the higher gear on the graph, it seems to change it. It changes the ratio way more, the space or whatever. Okay, so I don't know what you guys saw, but what I saw was I bogged in third because I shifted too early in second. I was scared to hit the rev limiter, and I wanted to get out of second before I landed. If I would have just rode second out, we probably would have went faster. But anyway, hopefully this little thing will help you guys out. If I was to keep going on this even further, I'd probably I would start adjusting my second gear now, because I want second gear to be perfect. But I mean, this, you can sit here for hours on this car, just doing stuff here and there and here and there. I know we only did a 17.98, but for a 2-gear wheelie tune, that's a start. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Helps me out. And definitely give it a share for me. And yeah, you guys take it easy.